I'm Helen O'Hare. I'm an editor at Mulholland Books, and I'm very happy to join you today. I'm excited to share my number one tip for writers, so I hope this is helpful to you. The number one thing I tell all of my writers, and the number one thing I do myself, is read. And I know that sounds simple, but what I mean by that is, to be a good writer, I think you have to be a good reader because you are trying to take your readers on a journey through a book, and you're trying to take them through a plot, through an experience, into a character's world, into all of these elements that we talk about that make up a book. But in order to do that effectively, you have to understand what writers do that gets the readers to have the experience that they intend. So my advice is always to read as much as you can and read widely. One thing to know about the crime genre is there are expectations in the genre that readers are going to come to each book with, and they're going to be different for every subgenre. So if you're writing a mystery, the expectations your readers are going to have are a bit different than if you're writing a thriller, if you're writing just a crime novel, or if you're writing into some of the subgenres that maybe we should do a whole other video on. But if you're writing a police procedural, if you're writing a cozy crime novel, if you're writing domestic suspense, each of these subgenres comes with a set of expectations that writers know to deliver on and readers are really looking for. And if you're choosing to write a crime novel, I assume that you like to read in the crime space and you want to be in conversation with other crime writers and crime readers, the wonderful community. But I would always say, read books in each of these different genres, get a sense for what's different, get a sense for what you like. You might be surprised if you read your first police procedural and it's something quite different than what you were thinking. If you only read domestic suspense, try reading, a real mystery novel or maybe even a cozy mystery and see what might appeal to you in those books. So read widely, understand the different spaces, and understand how you want your book to fit into the crime landscape. The other thing I would say is to read sort of throughout time. I think it's always helpful to read some of the classics people talk about in the crime space, to read the books that started it all, the books that people talk about decade after decade. What are those books? Do a bit of research, pick them up, see what the sort of original crime novels were like. Then I would say, read something really recent. Read books that have come out in the space in the past 2 to 3 years and see what people are doing right now. Do you like what they're doing? Do you not like what they're doing? I think when you come to an editor and a publishing house, the number one thing I can tell writers is that I am thinking about your book as an item I want to put into the hands of readers who are buying other books right now. And that means your book is going to be in conversation with the books that are on the shelf at this moment or have been in recent years. Obviously, your book is going to be distinctive. It's going to be special. It's going to be bringing something new to the conversation. That is why you want to write your book, and that's why we're going to want to publish your book. But it's going to be in conversation with everything that is being published in the landscape right now. And it is so, so helpful to you and to your editor and to your agent and to your readers. If you are familiar with books that people are enjoying right now, books that are either hitting the bestseller list or books that booksellers at your local store recommend in this space, get to know what are the books people are talking about right now, so you know what books you want your book to be in the conversation with. And again, that will help you with many, many things. It will help you when you are pitching an agent and your agent is pitching an editor to position your book with comp titles or comparative titles, which I know there are some other videos on that idea as well. But this will help you to understand what are some good current comp titles for your book. But it will also do something I think as an editor is even more important, and that is shape the reading experience for your reader. I mean, if you are choosing to write a book, you're writing a book because you want someone to come on a journey with you and you want to share a story you've come up with a reader. And I think to know that you're going to give that reader the experience you want them to have, you have to know what it's like to be a reader. So when you read books in your genre or in subgenres and you think about what's working in the book for you, what maybe doesn't work, where do you get excited, where do you start to tune out, what are the elements that you really value? And then you can think about that critically when you look at your own book. Obviously, you can't be a reader of your own book while you're writing it. The number one thing a writer needs to do is write the book. So don't let me discourage you from just writing. But I think it's my advice again to writers is always, once you've written a book, take a bit of space. That may be a few weeks, it may be longer. Take a bit of space so you can come back to your own book and read it like any other reader would and experience it and think about, is this how you want people to experience your story? Does it feel the way it feels when you read a book that you love? And you will only know that if you have read other books in the space. So my advice again is to read. I read all the time. I read across genres. I know other editors and agents are always doing the same. And I think it is such a valuable experience for writers to have and will only help your reader be so delighted when they get to your book down the line. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you guys enjoy your reading and your writing. Thanks.